Hello viewers and welcome back to the page. This video has taken a little bit longer to orchestrate than intended, but I wanted to pick a really good, clean, sharp gym venue, and here at the unit in Halifax today, we found exactly that space. I've been to gyms all over the world, in the Far East, in Europe, in the UK, and without question, this is one of the best gyms that I've been to, in particular in the Yorkshire area. So I thought it only fair to do some content in here to review the gym, to show you how to use a gym properly. If you are someone who travels a lot, and if you are someone who dots from place to place, from gym to gym, you're going to find this video really useful because I'm going to go through exactly what I would do in these circumstances, what to think about, what not to think about, and how to get the most out of the equipment you've got in front of you. And hopefully share some value and some insight onto how to actually train upper body successfully based on principles, not just specific exercises. So I hope you find it incredibly valuable, and we're going to get right to it. So one thing I always like to do whenever I come to the gym, especially if, like today, it's been a little bit of a drive to get out here, is I like to just move a little bit before I start, and just purely to get my mind in a good place for actually training properly. Gives me a chance to think about what I'm actually going to do. It loosens up the legs, it warms up my body's core temperature, and it just gets your body and your mind set into a bit of a state of readiness before you actually start exercising. So if you have a little bit of a drive, whether it's after work or whether it's before work, or let's say you've had a really stressful day, one thing I would always suggest is 3 to 5 minute walk on the treadmill will go a long way for physically preparing you, but not just that, mentally preparing you for doing a good session as well. Another thing I'm actually going to say here is I actually really like these treadmills. There's nothing worse than when you go up to a treadmill for the first time, you can't figure out how to switch it on. It's got a massive screen. You've got all these features where you can watch TV, you can plug in the radio, it wants you to connect to Bluetooth. Sometimes you just want to go on and just go. Really simple setup here, which I really like. And nervous about going to the gym and you don't want to make a bit of a tit of yourself, always good to just have a simple setup. If you've not used this gym before, they basically have everything you'll need cardio-wise. They've got Stairmasters, treadmills, Concept 2 rowers, Concept 2 ski ergs, Concept 2 bike ergs, which I'm a big fan of, by the way. You're amazed the amount of gyms I've been in, and they have rowers that are not set up for doing certain things, and you only realise when you get on them you can't do things like an interval properly. So the setup's really good. Also got a really nice track space, which is good for just floor space, but if you do anything functional, a gym that's got a good amount of floor space is absolutely gold, and in honesty, you don't see it that much in UK, so I really like this setup as well. Okay, so there's a few mobility exercises I always like to do before I start training, and again, this is just a couple of minutes that'll just mean that if you've got any niggles with your shoulders, with your chest, and you just struggle to actually move and retract your scapula, these are always good ones to do at the beginning of your routine that will get your body ready to train and lift weights properly. So the first one I like to do is T-spine rotation. So these movements help with thoracic mobility, they help with just getting your spine and your hips moving. They warm up your rotator cuffs and your shoulders, and they just mean that when you do pressing or rowing movements, everything moves full range of motion, and everything will work together in synergy. And if you've got any imbalances or any niggles or any injuries with shoulders, these are always good ones to start with. So I've had a little scout around the gym. First thing I'm going to say is some really nice looking kit. Very, very easy when you go into a gym and they've got a lot of stuff to get distracted and go a little bit off plan. But to train upper body successfully and well, one thing I always try and do is pick a good vertical pulling movement, a good horizontal pulling movement, machine based if they've got something that sits with you really well. Do a horizontal press and then do something that works with your biomechanics for shoulders, whether it's a lateral raise, whether it's a press. Depends on how much energy you want to expend and your experience level as well, and if you're carrying any injuries. Do those things first, and then at the back end you just need a little bit of blood flow. You need a little bit of pump work for biceps, triceps, some accessory work, possibly a little bit of core. Job done. The other thing I'm going to add here is I've always found it better whenever you train upper body, particularly if, like me, you've got a couple of issues and niggles with pains and shoulders. Start off with a pulling movement first, because it just puts your shoulders in a bit of a better position. When you start doing the pressing work, it's just going to feel a little bit better as well. Just thinking, second set, I'm going to add a little bit of weight here because I'm feeling strong. Had a good brekkie. See if we can find a dipping belt. Really impressed actually that the gym actually caters for these. The amount of gyms you go in that don't have dipping belts, don't have resistance bands, don't have ankle cuffs, they don't have any attachments that you actually need in the gym. This has got everything, and it's always nice to know that you trust the members enough to actually cater for things that you need accessory wise you're going to train. But if you can't get one of these, absolutely nothing wrong with just tucking a dumbbell between your legs, crossing your legs nice and tight, a little bit more reductor work, and to be honest, you're not going to be able to do more than 20 kilos anyway. I always see guys make a mess of this, and the best way to do it is just go through end to end. It's a long chain like this one, and just go back through it once more. So you've got a double chain, it'll just sit a little bit close to your waist that way as well. One thing I always see guys do when they're doing pull-ups is when they get to the top, shoulders roll in like that. Try not to ever do that when you do a pull-up, because all you're going to do is you're going to use your arms a lot. You're going to stop using your back, your lats, and if you want those muscles specifically to get stronger, think about keeping your chest elevated. Don't worry so much about getting from A to B, and think about not letting your shoulders roll in and letting your chest drop as well. The other thing I'll add as well is, you'll notice here I'm using a close grip. For me personally, when I train upper body, I do want a good amount of use of the lats, but I want to get a little bit of arm delivery as well. And I always find when I use a wider grip, it does feel a little bit more uncomfortable on my shoulders, and that tendency to let everything collapse and roll in and use my shoulders, my chest, my arms does tend to happen a little bit more. So for me, the close grip is a preference thing, and it just means I can execute things a little bit better. But if the grip was a little bit too close, then I'd probably be more inclined to use a slightly wider grip here. I mentioned 20 kilos. Now I feel obligated to use 20 kilos on the chin up. How funny is that? Otherwise my cameraman's gonna mock me for not being strong. So hopefully this won't be an embarrassing video, but if it is, then I'll cut the footage and you won't see it anyway. Can confirm it's not getting cut, so anything might happen here. So for me, rep range on chin-ups, I'd recommend anything between 6, maybe as much as 15. 8 and 12's the sweet spot. Go as low as 6 if you can feel like your execution's good. and you can feel the movement and you're not causing any pain. That was 6 reps there, just. But if you're able to do a lot of reps on pull-ups, definitely just add a little bit of weight. Like don't be lazy. Put a dumbbell in between your legs. Use a plate if you need to. It's a really good movement to get strong on. A lot of guys don't want to do it because it's hard. They would prefer to go on something like a lat pull down or a seated lat pull down machine. But honestly, the transfer from getting really, really good at a fundamental strength exercise like a pull-up is absolutely massive. And if you get good at pull-ups, you'll be good at anything else in the gym. The other thing I'll say is, it's a very unstable exercise. You get good at anything unstable in the gym. When you go onto a stable movement, it's gonna be so much easier and things are gonna be so much better as well. So next movement on the agenda is a slight incline press, just because it's harder to develop the upper part of your chest, and I feel it works really well to go from vertical pull to horizontal push to then horizontal pull to vertical or some sort of lateral raise. So that's how we're going to play it here. Now, I would normally do something like an incline barbell or an incline dumbbell, but I did notice they've got this really nice piece of kit here, which is it's hammer strength incline press. And not just that, it's a pin loaded one, which just been talking about this behind the scenes. I love it when things are pin loaded and are done well, because yes, if you want to feel good about your ego and you like slamming plates on things, that's all well and good, but don't poo-poo the pin loaded stuff, because they're really good, and for convenience, so much better. If you do something like a drop set, you can drop the weight, you can reduce and go quickly, which is going to exhaust your muscles a lot quicker as well. One thing I see a lot of guys get wrong whenever they do an incline press is, whether it's dumbbell, bar, Smith machine or machine like this one, just set it up so it's at mid chest, so it's not too low down. Don't put your seat too high and don't have it too close to your shoulder as well. So mid chest, grip wide enough so that your forearms are following the line of force, your elbows not bending too much. That way you're just going to use your triceps too much, you're not going to feel your chest. And lastly, you want to make sure you keep your shoulder blades in your back pockets and just focus on driving your bicep towards your chest and not losing that position. So when you lose that, that is when you're going to get a shoulder pump and you're not going to get any chest development, which is not what you want. So a couple of cues that I like to use whenever you're doing a chest press to get as much out of it as physically possible is, think about driving your body into the bench, keeping that chest and rib cage elevated, and don't try and push the bar or the dumbbell or the machine as far as it will physically go. Just push to that point where your arms extended and you don't lose that position. So think upper back nice and tight. Imagine you've got a coin between your shoulder blades, and keep that coin fixed all the way through your set. You'd be amazed how much better that'll feel on your chest. One other thing I'm just going to say here as well is, in this gym, very clean, very aesthetic, everything's black, which I absolutely love. But you can tell the owner really knows about kit, because they've got the best of everything. They've got Nautilus hack squat, they have a hammer strength incline press, because it's best in class. They haven't just gone from a brochure and just got the hotel package or just gone on what's recommended based on the budget. You can tell it's all hand selected, and you can tell it's utilized by people who actually know how to train well. Okay, let's wrap on there. The other thing is very easy to fall victim of when you go in a gym for the first time is when you're using a piece of kit and you've not used it before, you can kind of get caught into going through the motions with it. You can end up getting distracted with what you might have previously done in the logbook based on being in a different gym, different time of day, slightly different piece of kit. You have to get really good, especially if you train on the road and you go into different gyms for the first time, being adaptable and not being emotional about what the number says on the stack, because if it's got a different amount of pulleys, if it's loaded slightly differently in terms of the mechanics, you have to get really good at setting the right range for the actual rep range on that movement, rather than just thinking about your ego and trying to put the same weight on than what you were doing last time. Leave your ego at the door and just focus on doing a good job based on movement patterns and set principles. That's the best way to do it. So next we've got the chest supported T-bar row. I'm a big fan of anything chest supported for pulling, because if you've got any spine problems, or if you want to just focus on engaging the muscle in your back, because your sternum stays in a fixed position, it's always going to be a lot easier to engage your muscles properly. But having said that, if you don't have access to a T-bar row like this one's really smart, I would use something like a seated machine row or a chest supported dumbbell row. Especially if you're on the road and if you're training in a hotel gym, you're not going to have something like this available. But if you do, and you've not done it before, use it for the first time. Just gauge the weight, keep the reps sensible between 8 and 15, and just focus on engagement and moving your scapula properly as well. Easy. Can vary quite a lot, T-bar rows from gym to gym. Sometimes they're super heavy, sometimes super light. This one, we're gonna be able to load up a bit today, I can tell. So people have asked me a lot over the years with this, if you're ever in the position where you're doing a rowing exercise and they've got an overhand grip or something that's a little bit more neutral based, a more neutral grip typically is going to engage your lats a little bit more. It's going to make it easier to keep your elbows in, and your elbow is going to fall a little bit close to your hip when you get to the top. Anything overhand, it's going to be a little bit more upper back based. So depends on what you want to get out of the movement. I've already done chin up today, so we're using the overhand grip, and this one is going to be a little bit more upper back focus. One skill I've definitely learned to refine and encourage over the years is, if you are following a training split that might be something like push, pull, legs up, and you might have really specific exercises that you've got to follow, don't see it as unproductive if you have to slightly shift to more of a general upper body maintenance style session based on utilizing the kit that you've got available. So some of this stuff that's in here today, I don't have in my regular gym because of various different reasons, but on the road and when you're out in the environment, instilling these principles of horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical pull, and then just some accessory work that you can engage really well with is a really, really good way to maintain a good upper body and preserve muscle and just tee things up nicely for when you get back to your normal session. Didn't realise they were lower. Different heights on different sides. A little bit of an overstretch. Another thing which is always really nice to see as well is you can tell when a gym's well looked after, not just by the people who own it, by the members when they respect the space, because everything's put away. There's no plates left out on machines, there's no dumbbells left on the floor. The dumbbell rack runs perfectly from end to end. That's a sign that when you train an environment, when you pick an environment for the first time, after the novelty's worn off, after the first week, it'll still remain positive. So next up we have a chest supported lateral raise. Really good exercise for shoulders, this one. Really like this one because it puts your body in a fixed position. It is more comfortable and requires a lot less trap engagement than when you do it standing or just seated normally on a bench. And listen, I'm a big advocate of cables, machine lateral raises, that type of thing. But I think when you are training in a gym that you've not been to before, I always have a few default exercises that I just keep in my pocket that I pull out when I'm a bit uncertain on a movement. And it's not to say that the kit's not right, but it might take me 3-4 sets to get the right setup. So doing something predictable like a dumbbell movement, it's going to be the same wherever you go. So this is what we're going to run with, and this is how I want you to set it up. Bench is not fully upright. I'm taking the dumbbells in front of my shoulders because it's more natural as a line of force than going straight out to sides, and it stops me from moving my scapula and using my traps. So for engagement and me nursing a shoulder injury as well, that just feels way more comfortable. And it means that with 8 kilos versus 10, 12, 14, whatever you can do in terms of strength, you'll just get a lot more from doing that properly with everything in a fixed position than, again, just trying to train your ego and not really using your shoulders properly. I always like these kinds of movements as well. Anything single joint, between 8 and 15 reps, maybe as much as 20, depending on if you are focusing on fat loss or if you're trying to build muscle or if you're just maintaining. But pick a rep range in that bracket that feels comfortable, where you feel your muscles engage. That's going to be a lot better than just trying to surf the rack up and just seeing more weight as more results, because it doesn't work like that. So for biceps and triceps, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do something. Even if you've got very minimal amount of kit, if it's in a busy space, I mean, this is great today. This is perfect for me. But the only thing they have access to is a dual pulley cable station. This can work really, really well. And all you need is this and just a pair of D handles. The other thing I really like here is the amount of times I've been in gyms where these are made out of plastic. Another time what happens is they start to crack and they break and they get really, really uncomfortable to use. Metal handles are absolute gold in this day and age, so very, very impressed with that as well. So one set piece that I absolutely love for doing biceps is working on a DPD station from short to mid to long range in terms of the curl variations. Now what that means is the first variation is hardest when my biceps are contracted fully. The second variation is hardest at a mid-range at the halfway point. And then the last variation is hardest when my biceps are lengthened. So I don't need to change the weight. I don't need to change the exercise. I only need the station, the handles, and I promise you this, 2 sets of this done properly will be absolutely enough to completely blow up your arms, and you'll feel like your biceps have just got nothing left. Time efficiency as well. This will take me 3 minutes to do. You don't need to do 10 minutes, 20 minutes on biceps to get really, really good development. Yeah. So a big thing to think about when you're doing the actual curls is when you want your bicep to be most under fatigue and feel it the most on the first variation, you want your elbow joint to be just in front of your shoulder. That makes it hardest at the top. When you do the second variation, elbow joint directly underneath your shoulder. That's why you stand a little bit close to the cable. And when you do the last variation, keep your chest up nice and high, bring your elbow joint behind that shoulder and really think about lengthening your bicep as much as you can. When you do those things, it's going to be a lot more effective and you're going to find it easier to see more growth by doing less when you're in the gym. God's honest truth there. That is actually really difficult. And there's no, can't even touch my shoulder. Done 2 sets, don't need any more. Just need to do a little bit less properly. Really good one to try. I'm going to show you how to completely obliterate your triceps in 2 sets. You only need 1 piece of kit. Here I have an attachment that's very similar to a rope, it's just a little bit more comfortable. All you need is a DPD station. There's 3 different variations you can do for triceps that will be done back to back, and you only need to do 2 rounds. My recommendation is to do between 10 and 15 reps on each variation. Pick the right weight where you're not going to complete failure on each one, but on the last set of the last variation of that exercise, empty the tank, go as many as you can. Big mistake I see a lot of guys make when they do anything overhead for triceps is letting their elbows move up or down. So that's just going to use your lats. Or letting their elbows move out from side to side. That's why you always feel your chest and your shoulders and you don't feel your triceps. So keep them in a fixed point, keep them tucked in, don't let them move forward and back. Your triceps will respond a lot better when you get that right. So a full rundown of the tricep variations. There's 3 different variations to do with the triceps. One is hardest in a fully contracted and short position. One is most difficult in a mid-range. And the other one is going to be most difficult when your triceps are lengthened. So mechanically it works really well. It means you can use the same weight all the way through. And every time your triceps fail, you then go beyond failure with the same load and you take them past that point of fatigue, which is why it's so effective for growth and why you get so much blood flow by just doing 2 rounds. So these are the variations we're going to do. That's why it works. Give it a go when you're next in the gym. Oh dear, I'm going to struggle to put into words how horrendous that actually was. You can see at the end there, triceps completely failing, but because they're still under tension mechanically at that last variation, it's still really beneficial to just go from fully lengthened to just small movement and respond like crazy, provided you just keep the discipline and don't let the elbows move up and down or in or out. Triceps respond really well, and 2 sets completely done. So setup wise, to get this one right, all 3 variations, you want the pulley right at the top. You don't have to use this exact attachment, it'll work perfectly fine with a rope. I just prefer this because it means that it's perfectly symmetrical and the hands are not going to move. The first variation, to make it difficult when your triceps are fully short, you want to stand away from the cable to a degree. So if you look at when I'm setting up here, I'm stood away from the cable, my elbow joint is positioned behind my shoulders, okay? And what that's gonna mean is when I fully contract and when I shorten the rope, that is the most difficult position and the starting point for the first part of the triceps. The second variation is going to be more difficult in the mid-range. So you just step in, so you're slightly more underneath the cable pulley, lean over from the hips, and just extend straight down to the ground. So here, my elbows come from behind my shoulder to just underneath my shoulder. That is where I'm going to be working for this variation. It'll feel hardest when you get to about the halfway point. The last variation is going to be over the head. So setup wise, again, exactly the same, but now my elbow is moving forward again, and that's going to make it harder when my triceps are fully lengthened. So when my triceps are fully lengthened, that is when they are typically strongest, which is why I do this variation last with the same load. So elbows stay nice and still, nice deep stretch, not moving up or down, keep them tucked in, and just extend straight to the wall using full range of motion. Keep the reps at 10 to 15. Try not to let the elbows move on any of the variations. 2 sets done properly will be more than enough for this. So just to round things off, today we are going to do a little bit of core work, just a hanging leg raise variation. Now, a lot of guys really complicate ab work. They do far too many things, they do big circuits, and in all honesty, it's just not necessary. You need something for lower abs, some sort of leg raise variation, whether it's hanging, whether it's on a Roman chair, even if you do a leg lower, just lying down on the ground. All those are good. This gym actually has a lot of kits which could be really good, but just for the purpose of today, I'm just keeping things simple. I'm just keeping things a little bit more on plan. You also want potentially a crunch variation, whether it's a machine, whether it's a decline sit-up, whether it's a floor crunch. And lastly, if you really want a comprehensive approach, just something rotational, whether it's done with a dumbbell on the ground, whether it's a side plank, whether it is some sort of weighted carry, or it might be a pull-off press, it might be an oblique twist. Follow those principles, so leg raise, crunch, something rotational or something for trunk stability as well. That's all you need to do for ab work. You don't need a complicated approach. One of 3 of those, done 2 to 3 times a week, is more than enough. You know when you've done your abs well, because you'll be able to feel them after just one single set. If you ever pick a movement that you're just not connecting with, you either need a lot of corrective measures to make it more effective, or it's just not the movement pattern for you. You're better off picking something really simple that's really difficult to get wrong, even if you are extremely tired or you're not very able in the gym. Just focus on the basics done incredibly well. And if you do a couple of sets well, consistently 2 to 3 times a week, that's going to be way more beneficial than just doing 100, 200, 300 reps of a crunch, which is probably not doing anything anyway. One thing that is always good to see in any gym is a water fountain that actually works properly. The amount of times I've been to gyms, whether it's, I'm not going to name brands, but they just don't have anywhere where you can just simply fill up your water. That is a massive thing when you're coming into the gym, whether it's after work, whether it's first thing in the morning, or you're on your way out and you just want to fill up your shaker bottle. Decent water fountain is not to be missed. So that's a wrap. Overall thoughts on the unit Halifax is it is an absolutely superb gym. Massive thanks to Ben for letting us film here today. And Ben, this is for you. Make sure you open one of these within 5 minutes of where I live. Honestly, really impressed with the kit. Staff have been incredible. Even the finer details, the change room's incredibly clean. You've got big, sizable lockers. You've got a very open space and it's very naturally lit with the windows. I've done an absolutely phenomenal job of the gym. And secondly, if you are training upper body in an unfamiliar space, I hope you found this content incredibly valuable. please like this post, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will make more videos like this, but I'm not going to do it unless you do so. So see you on the next one, and thank you for watching.